Blog Talk Radio.
Good morning and welcome to Laurie Smith on Blog Talk Radio, one child abuse survivor to another, and I'm just really happy to be here again this morning. It's 5:30 a.m. Calgary time, and I'm up getting ready for work anyway, so that's why I thought I might include a 15-minute show Monday through Friday, because just to spread some encouragement to people who are walking out their healing process from child abuse survivors or domestic abuse survivors, people suffering with abuse and stuff. This is just a message of hope for you, and I hope to be able to just pass on some quick information in the mornings just to get you sort of thinking about maybe reaching out if you're suffering in silence. And that's this is my second show for one child abuse survivor to another, and so far it seems like a good format. If you have any suggestions, if anyone's listening, you can phone in, and if you like, you can actually register and sign on as in the chat room, and just make sure that if you want your information kept private, to just let me know, because it's actually on the air and I might read it out thinking that you wanted the information brought to light. So if you want it private, make sure you put private on there. My guest call-in number, area code 917-889-3736. And I'm just happy to be here. Grab a coffee, everybody, or a glass of water, whatever you're drinking there. And we'll sit back for the next 13, 14 minutes and just have a chat on one child abuse survivor, that's myself, to another, anyone listening here who's survived and understands and has experienced such sadness and darkness in their life, and maybe who's still, working on issues. I know that it's an ongoing healing process, and I would say pretty much most of the way there. It's taken me a long time to get where I am right now today. And last night, actually, I had the privilege and the honor of being a guest on Gail Crabtree's Blog Talk Radio show. And that was the Voices of Hope program that they have. It's their actual Blog Talk Radio show is. I'm going to give you that information because this is great information for people who are suffering from sexual abuse, sexual assault, or domestic violence. And this lady, Gail Crabtree, we could spend. She's a wonderful person, and we could spend a lot of time talking about this lady, but I'm just going to give you some brief information this morning. The Hope for Healing Blog Talk Radio show is on Mondays nights at 8 p.m. and Tuesdays at noon, and you don't want to miss it. That's Eastern Standard Time at www.blogtalkradio, all one word there, .com, /Hope for Healing. Hope for Healing. And you don't want to miss her shows. She's an advocate. She speaks on the front steps of the White House. She's got, she works and is really quite involved in a ministry down in the States there, and she has a blog and all kinds of good stuff. So you want to catch her stuff. The blog is just on the web, and I actually subscribe to that. So I'm just giving you a heads up. Great information there for anyone who needs some additional information. And I know, because I'm still looking and still searching and looking for great information for myself as well as to pass on to others. So, yeah. Last night I was really blessed and just really honored to be part of her show. I was on there for an hour, and it was great. We had a good chat, and I hope it was helpful for anyone out there who's still feeling, like that there's not so much hope, because there is hope, and there's a lot of people actually spreading the word right now. I know Dreamcatchers for Abused Children they're going to have their own Blog Talk Radio show with Donna Kashir, the author and one of the co-founders, I guess, of Dream Catchers for Abused Children. And you don't want to miss that. They're coming up here. They're going to be on Blog Talk Radio in January, and I'll be listening because I know they're going to have some great information. So we were talking yesterday about re-victimization of adult survivors. That's people like me who go through our daily walk we think we're fine and we got everything ironed out pretty much, and then something happens, and because of what we experienced as children growing up in an abusive environment of any kind of abuse, doesn't matter, verbal, physical, sexual, whatever, it all hurts. And people like myself are susceptible to being re-victimized, because when this was an article off of wearesurvivors.org. It's on their website, headed up by Diane Champe, Champe, and I pulled this off. It's her blog, and she's got some great information. That's www.wearesurvivors.org. And I've been on there looking around. She's got some great information. But here she says, when someone suffers from trauma that hasn't healed, reactions from the old wounds will affect their lives in a variety of ways. And just by her saying that, we know that's so true, right? I had an episode at a job that I'm at right now that just recently that wasn't really all the boss's fault. I was feeling myself just kind of not confident enough for the role. It's a new role. It's a new for me, and it's a very important job and a very stressful job, and so I sort of took it upon myself to take on some stress that she was going through, as well as my own stress, and which caused me to just not want to go back in, and I didn't even want to handle it properly by phoning and actually talking to her to let her know that I wasn't, that my feelings on the whole thing, or just to go in and talk to her. So I think it was just the old way of handling things for me, was just to leave. If I didn't like something, for instance, if I growing up as a child, I was just forced to be involved in the home because I lived in the home, so whatever was going on was I was just kind of in the middle of it. So growing up as a teenager, if I didn't like something that was going on at home, I would just leave and I'd go and stay at my friend's house for, I had a few friends whose parents were kind enough to let me sort of move in with them, and whenever I needed a hand, I'd be over at their place. So I just got used to kind of leaving situations that were stressful. Anytime I was in a friendship that I was not comfortable in, I would just leave, instead of trying to actually work it out or say my piece, I would just leave. And a lot of people just associate that with disinterest or whatever, especially in our adult lives, like for jobs and stuff. A lot of people wouldn't know why someone would do something like that unless they know your background and your situation. So I thought we might talk today a little bit more about this re-victimization of adult survivors by Diane Champe. It's at www.wearesurvivors.org. You can go on there and take a look for yourself. It's really interesting. She wrote, when a person doesn't develop a secure attachment style when they are an infant or a young child, as she says, as I wrote in Adult Survivors Attachment Style, you can click on there and go in, and she's got some more information there. She says, Diane Champe says, they have problems in screening out untrustworthy people in their lives and are not centered within themselves. So yeah, you might, because people like myself who have, lived, for years in an abusive environment, we might not know how to properly screen out untrustworthy people, because I myself was so used to growing up around drugs. My brothers were on drugs, and they were, not all of them, but two of them were on drugs, and they were living in the home. They were quite often passing out and doing things like stealing other people's drugs and bringing them home, and then those people would come over and try to bust the door down to get in to get their drugs back, which was always kind of creating an environment of in an unsafe environment. And my mom, of course, was already stressed out from just a marriage that she just felt that she wasn't happy in. So it just made the whole environment very, very stressful. And growing up, because I got used to being around my brothers and their friends on drugs and sort of not thinking clearly and stuff, I was used to dealing with people like that who were under the influence of some sort of illegal drug or alcohol or whatever. And so yeah, that was the norm for me. I mean, I could handle talking to people like that. So, as a young person growing up like that, I tended I actually made friends with many drug users because I was comfortable talking to drug users, and my frame of mind was kind of set to that frame of mind where anything goes. You know, if it was a crazy lifestyle, and my parents really, my dad was, they were so involved in their own problems that they didn't really, because they weren't a good solid unit as parents, they enabled my brothers to continue that behavior instead of getting them the help that they needed, because the family had already been under pressure from the social services. Otherwise, the children were going to be, we were all going to be removed from the home. So that's on my blog if you're interested in checking that out. But there was just no support there, and so I just continued on as a young person living around that stuff and carried it on myself until I realized later that I was just tired of feeling sick and tired and down. And I know that you yourself, if you're out there suffering with an abusive partner, or domestic violence or domestic assaults, or you're a young person who has dealt with child abuse, there's so many of us out there. Hi, I got dropped there. Sorry about that, I got dropped. And yeah, so I've only got a couple minutes left on the show, but I just wanted to say there is hope. There is help for you. And if you're in the Calgary area and you need some information for a crisis and suicide helpline, Distress Center, 24 hours, their number is area code 403-266-1605. And that number again, 403-266-1605. I pulled this right out of the telephone book. If you're having you need emergency shelter in Calgary here, that's 403-234-SAFE, 7233. That's the last four digits. Get help. Do not sit and suffer in silence. Get help for and live the life that you really deserve to be living. I can't tell you enough that you can do it. And it doesn't mean it's easy, and it doesn't mean that it's it's an easy road to walk. I know, because I've been walking it myself for over 40 years, 35 years cognitively. So yeah, it's a long haul, but we can do it. And for anyone out there who's feeling that just life isn't worth it or whatever, my brother committed suicide. That's what pushes me really to say to other people that life is worth living. I could have given up. I could have easily given up and just kind of followed on and done the same thing. And for a while, I had kind of thought about that. And I just thought that my life was just not worth living, and that's how dark and that's how far down I had gone spiritually and emotionally. And I would say to everyone out there who's listening, who needs, who's just searching for the light, searching for some truth in their lives, and searching for some just a good life for themselves, and just hang in there and get the help that you need. And I'm telling you, just keep reaching out. That is the best thing you can do, because if you keep reaching out, it just solidifies to yourself that it is worth it. And the pain just kind of eventually it becomes less and less and less and less. It doesn't mean it completely goes away, and I think it could go away completely. I think there's hope for that, because I know myself this last year or two I've been feeling a lot better. So I hope you'll join me tomorrow, same time, 5:30 Mountain Standard Time, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. One child abuse survivor to another. You can phone in or just send me a chat message, and if you'd like. And I hope you have a great day. I hope that while you're walking it out, you'll go and check out hopeforhealing.org, and also Diane Champay's entry, wearesurvivors.org, and check out Dream Catchers for Abused Children on the web, and they have all kinds of great information. Have a great day.